Hello, folks. Welcome to Kudlow. I'm Larry Kudlow. So welcome to a new day, a new show, and our unfortunate continued dependence on big government in determining economic policy. The big issues are what was really said between President Joe Biden and Speaker Kevin McCarthy, and what did Fed Chair Jay Powell really mean when he said the risk of not raising rates enough is more dangerous than raising rates too high and causing recession. You tell me what all that means, and it'll be great fun. No one's talking about cutting taxes right now, which would greatly empower free people operating in a free economy and would greatly reduce the power of government, an idea I devoutly favor. And before I go any further, I want us all to take some solace from my former boss, Ronald Reagan, who said this.
Government is not the solution to our problem. Government is the problem.
And in case that didn't sink in, I want you to look at this next one. Please don't forget this.
The 9 most terrifying words in the English language are, I'm from the government and I'm here to help.
Yes, sir. All right, but we will continue our coverage. Now, Speaker McCarthy apparently had a very rough beginning with President Biden in their White House tete-a-tete yesterday, but it did last longer than folks thought, and reportedly tensions eased as the meeting progressed. Whether they'll have a second date remains to be seen. But here's what Speaker McCarthy did say after the initial meeting.
I was clear to him, we're not going to pass a clean debt ceiling. I'm going to wait for the president to call back another day or so, and hopefully we'll sit down together even further. What we talked about today was about moving forward and how we move through on a debt ceiling and how we get an agreement. I believe if we're able to get to an agreement, we could have a funding agreement for the next 2 years. You won't see omnibuses anymore.
All right. Well said. So we're going to try to fill in the blanks tonight with our very special guest during the show. The absolute best thing that we heard last night comes from the brilliant Senator Mike Crapo about an agenda to restore prosperity. Please take a listen to this.
Revenues are not the problem. The TCJA from 2017 needs to be made permanent, and we need to focus on less spending, less taxing, less regulating, and less inflating. And we need to get a plan to do that.
I just think it doesn't get much better than that. And in case you missed it, the absolute toughest thing we heard yesterday came from our distinguished guest, Senator John Kennedy of Louisiana, about Jay Powell's Fed. Get a load of this.
Chairman Powell is serious as an aneurysm. He is going to raise rates as high as he has to raise them. People like Larry Summers, Jason Furman, other Democrat economists have said it could be as high as 6, 7, 8, 9, even 10% of federal funds rate. He's going to do whatever it takes to get control of inflation. But he will not have to raise rates as high as he normally would and put so many people out of work if Congress would just stop spending money like it was ditch water.
That's a very important point, by the way, Congress versus the Fed. We'll talk about that, too. So this is all a big story. It's one that has a bunch of known unknowns in terms of how the government policy debate is going to end up and how it's going to affect the economy. Interestingly, importantly, stock markets were up yesterday. In fact, stocks have had a very good year-to-date run. So at a minimum, I would think, investors are saying, well, things may not be so bad. I'm always excited when stocks go up, believe me, though I think, frankly, the best investment strategy is to buy the index funds for the long run. That's another subject. But the market is saying there's no catastrophe, at least not yet, in terms of policy or an economy that I think is losing altitude, personally. But listen, what Mr. Crapo said, he had the best voice I heard of anybody. And I'm going to talk about that with our next guest. Crapo is the free market, supply side, prosperity agenda that the whole country should use. And if we did, it would end the long-term economic stagnation. It would end the inflation. And yes, it would make America great again. Crapo had it just so totally right. And I also believe the wind is at Speaker McCarthy's back. The country says cut spending before you raise the debt because government is too big, it is too powerful, it has too much central planning, and it has too much socialism. And Ronald Reagan was definitely right many years ago. Government is the problem, not the solution. So I will just end by saying, yep, you know it's coming. Save America. Stop the spending.